My allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Guys, we've got another collaboration with Endall BL. We do this at the start of every season for GAC, and we've got 5v5 coming up, so we're going to talk today specifically about offensive teams, the best offensive teams out there, how you can use them, what the team comps are, etc. And then we'll do a defensive one a little later, and another bonus one on Endall's channel about Galactic Legends. We'll stay tuned. We'll tell you about all that stuff. But for now, I've made you wait for far too long, my friends. Endall, thank you so much for joining me. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I really look forward to these monthly collabs with you. Thanks for having me on. So a big hello to you and all of your community as well. Looking forward to discussing all these changes with GLs coming in. Looking forward to discussing how we should be thinking about 5v5 now.
I know. You and I were talking about this right before we started this video, and it's like. At first you're thinking like, man, well, at least I remember the last version pretty well. And then a couple weeks in, you're like, man, I don't remember 3v3 at all, or if I don't remember 5v5. And I'm in that place right now. I'm like, how did I 5v5 last time? I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that you just tend to forget, having done a whole season of 3v3. You have to unlearn so many things, and you have to get back into the groove of things. So it definitely helps to talk through these things. I think that's one big benefit of doing these collab videos.
I'll be honest, like a lot of the benefit of these videos, like I want it to benefit the community, of course, that's the goal here, but I feel like I'm taking away more benefit than most, because you and I are just like talking about these teams the whole time, like, oh yeah, I like this and this, just talking shop, like it's fun. Maybe one day I can record a little bit of that, and people can see we could do like a behind the
scenes,
the scenes, so guys, in the comments below, please hit that like button if you want to, or leave a comment in the comments specifically though. Tell us, would you like a behind the scenes for this collaboration for next month? Let me know. Should be interesting. And if your answer is no, then be nice. That being said, let's jump into the teams. We've got a lot of teams to cover because I think we have 11 teams and 11 teams for offense and defense. We're not, for this video, talking about Galactic Legends. Gosh, I even had the right first word. I just was going to say Republic instead of Legends. So we're not going to talk about Galactic Legends here. That's going to actually be on Endall's channel. We're releasing this simultaneously. So guys, in the video description, first off, go follow Endall. By all means, just go do that right now. He is a GAC master. He knows all the things. He's had, 2 undefeated GAC seasons now?
That's correct. Last 2 seasons.
I mean, consecutive in the last 2. Like, you've had multiple other undefeated seasons as well, but they're consecutive. So go follow him and watch his GAC stuff. And then also, as simultaneously, I'll have that linked as well as a separate link. Go to our collaboration for Galactic Legends as well. So we're also going to be talking about those. That being said, I said, like, let's get to the discussion here. Like minutes ago, let's talk about offensive teams, Endall. And the first one that came to our mind, this team on offense and on defense, this is just a workhorse team. Jedi training Rey with the hero bros and the droids. I mean, I just love this team. There is so much to say about it, frankly.
Absolutely. I mean, this team has everything. It's got protection recovery, it's got control in the form of stun and turn meter reduction, and it's got speed, which is really important because you want to get ahead of the enemy team and control the battle. So the droids give each other speed. Resistance Hero Finn is naturally fast, and most people have him at 320, 330 and above. In general, this team generates tons of turn meters. So tons of control, tons of percentage health damage, tons of stuns. Really love this team.
Absolutely, yeah. There's so much utility, and it only gets better the more that you practice with it. Because it's like, okay, so Finn can pass a turn to someone, and then they'll go. But then if you pass the turn to the right person, he'll go right after that. So it's back to back to back, and then BB-8's gaining all the turn meter, and it can be a fiasco for the opponent if they don't know what they're getting into. One of my favorite things, though, too, about this team is the Finn Grenade of Healing.
Mm.
So he's throwing that grenade, and it's healing his team as well, so you can actually get 60 banners. That used to be a thing of like, well, if they're not in range of Illuminated Destiny doing like what 10%, 5%, something like that of protection recovery, then you're not getting perfect banners. But Resistance, you can get those banners now with Resistance Hero Finn.
Absolutely. And the other good thing about this team is Inspire, which is a mechanic which typically tends to get lost when we use the Finn and the Hero
Yeah.
brothers under Ray. But Inspire by itself is such a strong ability. I mean, these guys counter and they do a lot of unique things. So that in a non-Ray team, a non-GL team, it really gets a chance to shine quite a lot.
Yeah, and it does. Inspired allies deal damage. When they deal damage to an enemy, they also deal damage equal to 10% of the target's max health.
Yeah.
So, like we see Solo using this team sometimes against like Padme. It's crazy, actually.
Yeah.
When it blew my mind when he did that, he's like, "Oh yeah, I noticed this mechanic the other day." I'm like, I need to reread Inspired. That I think that's one of the mechanics that's most overlooked in this game, frankly.
Exactly, yeah. So there's two ways of actually getting doing percentage health damage in this team. There's Expose, 20% damage, and then there's Inspire, 10% damage. It's simply amazing.
Yeah, it is really cool. Let's talk about the. So well, I just threw some troopers in here. There is an unlimited number of combos, except if you want the best troopers team, it's going to be Veer's lead. You have to have Veer's lead. Dark Trooper and Piet go together like peas in a pod. And Piet's going to be Relic 9 here pretty soon because Executor speed and all of that madness. But then you can kind of mix and match. Like, what's your favorite combo here, Endall, for troopers?
Yeah, Veers, Piet, and Dark are a must, and then the other two vary. Sometimes I like to use Moff Gideon as a plug and play in other teams. I love Stark for the turn meter generation. I have him clocked just right. So Stark in range is usually my go-to for troopers. And keep in mind, my troopers, I've got Dark at R5 and I've got Piet at R8 because these guys are really good and they're needed. But everyone else in my trooper team is G12, and these guys punch way above their weight. All you need to do is make sure you have the right speeds and the right characters. Make sure that they go, one after the other. And then once the Terminator train starts, then there's no stopping them.
Yep, you just got to get that initial kill. To me, that's always the starting point. If you target a team like my favorite thing you take out, or I used to do against bounty hunters. One thing I taught Solo. I think he was he was like skeptical that I could take out a bounty hunter team with them. This is in the early days, and I was like, no, all you got to do, you kill Boba right away. He's like gear 11, the one that I was targeting. As you kill Boba right away, he comes back. You kill him again, and your turn meter is just crazy, and you just run the table. Like, this team gets 60 banners almost every time you use it successfully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. All right. Next up, we've got we've got two different versions of Jedi Revan. We're counting this as a single team. So we've got the Jedi Revan team, and I think I've just at the point that this specific video is released, I'll have already released a guide on how to use it. This team will kill a Supreme Leader Kylo squad if you have the right mods and the right relics and etc. Like, it's kind of expensive. But the other team, I guess, is probably a little bit more realistic for most people. Jedi Revan, he's been around for years now.
Yeah.
He's still given, though.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the classic version of that team. This is the one that people initially started using before all the GL Jedis came out. There's tons of assists over here, which means healing on the Jedi Knight Revan team. There's tons of bonuses that these guys have, and with most people having a G8 Grandmaster, R8 Grandmaster Yoda right now, this team is going to be doing tons of damage. R8 Grandmaster Yoda with Basti's buff and with Hermit Yoda's Master's training. that is a very decent combination. There's tons of healing over here, tons of assists, tons of foresight generation. It can be a very tricky team you can take out many tricky teams with this, definitely.
Yeah, it's super flexible. One thing I really like about it, so I was gonna be sarcastic and say you can absolutely get whatever potency down from with Grandmaster Yoda everywhere. Conquest has taught me that, but that's not my favorite thing. The thing that I like the most is that Basti gives so much functionality to everyone else. She gives that battle meditation to everyone. Everyone's got a huge pile of potency, and that stacks so well. They had to buff her to make it happen, actually, but it goes so well with the direct focus that Revan has with the general. When they have bonus protection, then you're going to melt their max health,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that'll you need a potency check to get through it. And so traditionally, it's like you can't do it to some teams. Like Nest has too high of tenacity, for instance. But with Basti giving everyone a bunch of potency, then you're good to go. Suddenly, like you just it's so fun to watch Nest's health approach zero. It's just super fun.
it is. It is.
She's like got one big health bar. She's got a ton of tiny little protection bars, and then one big fat health bar right there on the bottom. You're like, you're gonna die soon. Um, okay, so this is a team that you and I are excited about always.
Yes.
Bounty hunters, and so Aura lead, not necessarily like the first pick a lot of people would have made, but man, she has really transformed my roster in a lot of ways. You can counter a lot of good things with this team.
Oh, absolutely. This team is, if you have the right speeds on Grief and Boss, can go first and get the upper hand. And if you've got the right crit chance on Mandalorian, because that also generates a lot of TM. With this team, you can take out a ton of really, really good teams without even allowing them to go. Look at that. You've got a 342 Boss. I'm so jealous of that. And then 340 Grief. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is
So
that is
silly.
insane. I have to get close to your levels, but that's the kind of speeds that you guys should be aiming for. Once you have that, and some crit chance on Mando, you can go fast and annihilate someone. Sometimes even before the enemy even gets to go.
And that's the goal. Like, so you don't need those gaudy speeds. I just today this is kind of a flex. I'm probably gonna have to swap out for slower speeds because they don't need to be this fast. But if Bosk and Grief are faster than the enemy team, as long as there's not some kind of turn meter restriction and mechanic involved, as long as Bosk and Grief are faster, then all you have to do, Bosk taunts and gains frenzy. Grief goes, he calls a mass assist. Bosk takes a turn because of frenzy. He does a mass assist, and suddenly the whole team instantly has the contract, and Mandalorian can pop someone, and he's gained a bunch of turn meter because he has
Yeah,
also been critting as long as you've modded him that way. So
yeah,
yeah, the team
yeah.
works really well as long as so you can have them slower, you're just going to counter fewer teams.
And one thing to remember is with an R8 Boba in there, the moment you get your contract, he's going to get a turn. So you've got not one disintegrate, you've actually got two disintegrates. Boba with this big rocket. If you've got even a few debuffs on the
True.
enemies or buffs on the enemies, Boba can annihilate someone else on his own as well. So you're actually potentially being you can potentially disintegrate or annihilate two with both Boba and Mando the moment you get your contract.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Boba at Relic 8, I didn't mind at all when they required that for whatever madness that they had. I think Executor, yeah, he was great. Mando's great, and then you can use Django now with Mandos. Actually, like we'll talk about that later, but you don't, with a good Boba, you don't need Django here. Django's
Yeah.
nice, but he's nice everywhere. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
having said that about Boba, about the great things he does in this team, he is a flex fifth over here because you can use a couple of other non-bounty hunter characters to counter some tough teams.
Yep, and that's absolutely true. So stay tuned, guys. I haven't done all the testing yet, but I really want to use this Aura lead team with Gideon to counter General Skywalker. I'm pretty sure that works for really high banners. So, as I say, stay tuned. But I think we're gonna have some interesting things on my channel here, and probably Endall's as well for it. Because we were talking about it. Kuil is also great for that team. Now,
Yeah.
another team that, man, it makes me so sad because 3v3 use Mothra with Cassian and K2, and in 5v5, they're like okay, and against certain builds, but this is the build. This is the speed build, the turn meter build. Is this the right comp, that you use at least, and
Oh
all.
yeah, absolutely. I use the same comp, and mine are way more, way less geared than yours. I think I have a G12 on a Scout and G10 on POW maybe, and G12 on Biston. But my Cara Dune is fast. She's 315 or 320. I usually switch mods and make her really fast in terms in 5v5, just to use this team over here. So that
Mod
once you
Shaman.
use her and get the advantage of going first, you can really get the upper hand on the enemy team and not really allow them to take a single turn.
Absolutely. And so this team is great for Galactic Legend cleanup as well because they take so many turns. You can gun down Supreme Leader Kylo. You need to use a pre-taunt with that team because he'll just probably like kill Baze or something if he's got the right move. But you can clean up. Last season, I think I cleaned up 2 or 3 different Rays, and it works. It's kind of nerve-wracking at times, but I think this team actually killed Ray and an ad, in fact, one time for me.
Wow.
So it can work really well. Of course, you're also just turbo boosting her ability to hit you back, so you got to be careful there as well because she's gaining all that mastery. But one thing to keep in mind too, folks, is Hoth Rebel Scout actually has a higher base speed than Cara Dune. I think I was
Hmm.
reading that, and if that's the case, then he's a guy who you could actually speed up a little bit, and as long as one of them gets the first turn, then Pow just grabs that and runs with it. He'll start feeding turn meter, and so you can maybe make Hera a little tankier, a little bit more damage, whatever you want to do. But yeah, this team is awesome. I use it against General Grievous. I've been working on that counter forever. Finally figured it out last 5v5 season and used it to good effect every time against Grievous. So high utility team in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was so underwhelmed when she came out, and then and now I you can see I've put all the relics on them.
And now you have a Zeta POW. I never would have thought 2 years ago that you would have a Zeta POW relic.
I would have bet that was like on my bottom 5. I was like, no, why would I ever do that? And now, yeah, now I'm like, gosh, it's way better than like most Zetas. So, yeah, impressive. Actually, we don't have time to talk about it, but that is an impressive feat by CG. Honestly, like regardless of whatever else we feel about CG, they do make some good kits, and like that's a fantastic addition to be able to create like Mothra and retroactively just make Pow a complete monster with his Zeta without even touching his Zeta. So,
Yep.
anyways, now we've got Bad Batch, and so I've light whaled on all of them. I have them all at Relic 5 except for Omega. She is Relic as well. What are you gonna do with Bad Batch?
So Bad Batch is an amazing team on offense. There's so much control that these guys have. Now, obviously, separatist squads, whether it's Grievous or whether it's Dooku, Newt, those kind of separatist squad, these guys do great versus them. First order squads, because all the true damage that these guys do, first order squads are also very easily managed by this team. I would use them on offense primarily when I see a General Grievous, just because I want to get those full banners against Grievous, which is typically a little more difficult to do since they are a banner stripping team. So I would take Hunter, Echo, Tech, and Wrecker, 4 of them by themselves against Grievous, or if I'm feeling frisky, I might just take Omega as well. Mine is just a G11 Omega, but I think Omega in there does add a lot of value. Wrecker gets a pre-taunt. He starts with Furious, so he starts with Fury, so he can stun everyone immediately and give defense up. So there is some decent amount of value that Omega adds in the team. So I think I'll probably use that.
Yeah, I really do like so that's something that we need to point out. Like, as long as he can actually land the stun, it's not an automatic thing. But if he does, inflict stun on all enemies for 2 turns. That is so ridiculous if you can land it. So I don't think I modded the right way. I'm guessing we want potency. I need to look at my mods, and I'm gonna make a modding video eventually. But this team, man, it's also the best button mashing team ever because you get annoyed eventually. Like there's a lot of rules to learn. I'm
Yeah.
slowly over the course of months learning how to use this team, but yeah, It's super fun, and I'm excited. 3v3, I could only use 3 of them at a time, obviously. I'm
Yeah,
excited to use the full 5, especially my Relic 1 Omega, you
yeah.
know, with 2 Zetas. I don't even remember what they do. That'd be awesome. All right, so, Endall, this is a shock. This will be a shock to
Yeah.
everyone. We chose Darth Revan to be on offense, and I got to tell you, this team has always been on defense for me. That's been like my automatic number one. Just put full bastard Darth Revan on defense and call it
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Same here. I mean, both for 3v3 and 5v5, Darth Revan has always been on defense. But there are a couple of reasons why I think this team should be on offense going forward. One is there are so many counters to Darth Revan these days. I mean, most people have really great troopers, and now people have started developing bounty hunters as well. So if you've got fast bounty hunters, fast troopers with good damage, with a good dark, then this team gets trivialized on defense. So that's reason number one. And second reason is these guys are so amazingly versatile and flexible on offense. You can use them together as a team to take out a really tough team, or you can split them up. You can use Darth Malik to solo a tough team. You can use Basti with EP, for example, or you can just use Darth Revan with another good squad just to go first and apply fear on everyone and give your team the first mover advantage. So these guys are great, have got great flexibility on offense, which is why I think they'll do better on offense than defense.
Yeah, I think that they're going to be good. Like you said, we can fragment them. We can just send them to every corner and use them to our advantage. I do think that, like Malik he's going to be able to solo a lot of like Padme teams and stuff, especially like leftover Padme teams if there's General Kenobi out there. And then being able to combine them all if you want to, mix and match. You get high efficiency banners for all of them. Like Darth Revan and Basti in 3v3 at least are one of my favorite tandems. You
Oh,
get
yeah.
55 every time. And in 5v5, it's not that different because what you do, you just you fear everyone, then you fear everyone to get the stagger on them, and then you use lightning to knock the stagger, to use the stagger, and then use from Revan, and then Basti follows up with another lightning, and it can kill a whole team. Like it's just like 4 turns in a row that you go, and the whole team just falls over. It's
Absolutely,
awesome.
yeah.
So, yeah, they're great on offense, great on defense too, guys. Vader actually still works on them some if you have the right modding, but that's another story. So, speaking of Vader, we had a discussion about what to do with Vader now, and it's not clear. Vader lead is still okay. Like it's nice to hold on to those dots. We landed on Thrawn lead though. I really like Thrawn lead.
I do too. I mean, Thrawn lead is it gives that extra ability that he gives out to all Empire, the half step. That gives so much flexibility on what you want to do. You can choose to attack, you can choose to cleanse and gain 50% turn meter, and Thrawn, especially combined with Show Trooper, it's pretty amazing. The moment Thrawn goes and fractures, um, everyone else can do special abilities, and the fracture remains on that character because it keeps reducing Thrawn's turn meter. And Show Trooper and Thrawn have got some amazing synergy together. Show Trooper can constantly do his special ability with Thrawn lead in there. He can do the half step, and there's tons of stuff that there's synergy between Thrawn and Show Trooper, and with Vader and EP in there to do the damage and keep control. I think it's a pretty flexible squad on offense.
I think so. You're not going to kill any like really high end teams, but at the same time, like you'd probably punch above your weight weight level quite a bit. So, yeah, really like this team. You can kind of mix and match. If you add Watt to it, there's just a lot of different functionality to it. So. Palpatine's like, why am I not the lead? And I'm like, you just sit right back, buddy. You're good. You can stun people. You're a stun bot now. All right. So here's a team that both like. I feel like this would be a good like behind the scenes discussion because we were both like, oh my gosh, this team is awesome. Because I'll let you love Wampa more than I do, but I do love this team.
Yeah, I love Wampa and Watt and Stormtrooper Han, even in 3v3s. In 5v5s, I feel the addition of Kira and Vando really elevates his team to another level. Wampa obviously is a great damage dealer, ramping damage, and he just needs, all he needs is he needs to be left alone so that he can ramp up damage. So you have Stormtrooper Han to do exactly that. And Stormtrooper Han in this particular team has got so many ways of regenerating protection. There's Kira Lead, which gives him protection every time he crits. There's Wat Tambor, who's going to give the tank tech to him. He's got his own unique, which is going to help him. If you've got his Zeta on his unique, it helps him to recover protection every time that he's hit. And he's also, every time he's hit and Vandor is not, Vandor actually helps him recover some protection as well. Plus, Vandor has got the ability to revive him if he's prepared. So if you use him on offense, you can keep prepared on him 100%. And Stormtrooper Han is going to be invulnerable in this team. All of that allows your Wampa to really ramp up and take teams out.
Yeah, it's amazing. And here's the thing, guys. Just remember, Stormtrooper Han is not invincible. You're not going to be taking this team against a really heavy-duty offensive team, because Stormtrooper Han can be overwhelmed. Now, if he does get killed, Vander can, like Endall says, he can totally be revived. But if he's revived, he will lose that tank tech. So you're going to have to reapply that from Watt, and you have a moment of vulnerability. So there are chinks in the armor, but I think that this team is best on offense, where you can custom build, like, oh, I'm not going to choose the team that has all the heavy hitters. I'm going to swerve over here, and we're just going to get 60 banners against a team that is like a timeout team, but Wampa just ramps up and kills people.
Yeah, or even, two great teams to take this against is, single attack teams which do a lot of assists, like Mon Mothma or Geonosians. Those guys are great. This team is great to take against those kind of squads if you're running low on other squads, because these squads usually don't have AoEs, and Wampa does double damages versus Rebels, which is great. And with Watt's tech, he's going to prevent revives, which is also a great thing. He's not going to ignore defense anymore, but at least he's going to be gaining tons of turn meter every time that the enemy goes, and Mon Mothma and Geos go a lot. So, a great squad to take against really high relic Mon Mothma Geo squads as well.
Yep, that is a great functionality, and a lot of people don't know how to use Mothra or Geos, so they just slap them on defense. So it's great. Now Traya is an interesting squad, because a lot of times you can actually just take the trio. You can also take like your Relic 8 Awful Dooku that everyone has to have if they want Lord Vader, or the Relic 6 if they want to get Sith Eternal. But that being said, Traya offers a lot of utility. She's been around forever, like literally forever. She's super old in the lore, and otherwise she's, I don't know. It's hard to describe like what new about Traya.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm Iron Man in that movie. He's like talking to his wife. He's like, "So, what's new with composting?" Like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, this trio is a really good flexible squad to have on offense. I mean, even if you don't use them together, you can always bunch Traya in, these three in with maybe EP and Vader and counter a Padme team, for example. Isolate is one of the most powerful debuffs in the game, along with Fracture. If you put Thrawn in there, for example, Darth Traya, Scion, Nihilus, and Thrawn, that is another great squad as well. You've got two great forms of control, and you have the ability to recover protection with Thrawn as well. So, very flexible squad on offense. If you've got lower geared ones like G12, like mine, I sometimes put them under on defense with a Maul lead and maybe a Nest or something like that. That has done pretty well for me as well. But most of the time, I like to keep these guys on offense just for the flexibility they provide.
Absolutely. You're not going to get great banners. You don't have banner recovery except for Scion. But if you only take 3 of them, you can still get good banners. Yeah. And one thing to mention, guys, this is kind of neither here nor there, but like Darth Revan on defense, people have been putting Maul with them just so that troopers can't kill the Darth Revan team. So just something to be thinking about. All right, our final team on offense, and this is one of my favorites just because I was so disappointed when Bo-Katan was released, and I was like, oh my gosh, like Mandos suck. They can't do anything. They don't kill anything. And they actually kill a lot. You just have to temper your expectations. Do you use this team much, Endall?
I do use it on offense. And for me, Bo and Django are the only ones with Relic, but it still is a really great squad. I mean, Django in 3v3s, you usually use him with Separatists. He used to be used with the bounty hunters in 5v5, but now I think with most people having a Relic Bow, I think Django's place is in a Mandalorian squad. with Bo and Django as the main engines of the team, and with Candace actually, he's the one who's if you've got him relic, he does tons for this team. And with a fast armorer, you'll have tons of control if you use this team on offense. There's plenty of protection recovery in this team as well, which is another reason why this team should be used on offense, just because there's a very high chance you end with good banners.
Yep, absolutely. I really like the functionality. So if you have a fast armorer, she goes first. She will call with her special. She'll call all Mandalorians to assist. Candace will assist. Everyone assists. And when Candace goes, then, or when everyone assists, then he is, let's see, when an enemy with damage over time effect is damaged by an attack. So Candace is shooting. He's applying damage over time. When they're damaged by the attack, Candace gains 8% turn meter. So if armor goes, then she calls everyone to assist. Candace is, he plays a dot, a damage over time, and then he's gaining 8% every time he's shooting, and he's just going to go to town. Like Relic 5, honestly, he's a decent candidate for Relic 7 for this team. But then Bo-Katan is healing everyone because of attacks done out of turn, and it just turns into a mess. And under Bo-Katan, you get the lead ability that Candace can use to be able to taunt. And then when they hit him, or he taunts, but then he also, with 3 stacks of Beskar ingots, he can also hit back. He counters every time, and he's able to just go crazy. It's a pure joy to actually make it work. You kind of need to invest in it, but then Django every once in a while, he's like, no, Candace, I'll just nuke someone too. Like, you don't have to do everything. So
yeah, and we also tend to forget that Armorer has got like a mini savior ability. Anytime that any of the allies fall below, I think it's 60 or 40% health, she gives them 40% protection. Yeah, 60% health. So it's useful to have. So just in case one of your characters gets focused down, at least that ally ends up recovering tons of protection. And protection under Bo-Katan is extremely valuable, just because you can regen it really fast.
Yep. This team is pure joy if you can hang it. Unfortunately, the armor is also usually used with Sith Eternal.
Yeah.
So that's an unfortunate piece of it. But if you can get away from that, wonderful team. That being said, Endall, let's call it good for offensive teams. Let's go. Everyone, go watch, go sub Endall. You will not regret it. He is a fantastic 8+ GAC player. You never I risk my own viewership every time I have him on here, just because he is so good. But I can't deny the value he provides to the community. So, Endall, thank you so much for this. Let's go talk about Galactic Legends and post it on your video or on your site, shall we?
Sounds good.
All right, man. So, for those of you who are just done, thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Gambit prevails.